Azi in Zoroastrianism is a significant demon representing avarice, gluttony, insatiability, and lust. This figure is central in Zoroastrian, Zurvanite, and Manichaean texts, symbolizing the destructive force behind human suffering and moral corruption. Az is depicted as the ultimate antagonist to Atar, the fire god and son of Ahura Mazda, the supreme creator god. Az embodies an insatiable hunger, consuming everything and anything without ever being satisfied. His voracious nature even leads him to devour his own body if nothing else is available. Though not the demon of death, Az brings death through his corrupting influence, being the source of all human disasters. He and Ahriman, the principle of evil, are destined to be the last demons vanquished by the forces of light and goodness in the cosmic struggle. In Zurvanite theology, a branch of Zoroastrianism, Az is depicted as the leader of the demonic hordes, embodying the cosmic struggle between good and evil forces. His role highlights the intense opposition faced by the forces of light in their battle against the forces of darkness. In Manichaeism, a dualistic religion, Az is portrayed as a female demon, the mother of all demons and sin. She is responsible for creating the human body, which imprisons the soul, distancing humanity from its divine origins. Az represents high matter and evil, and works to prevent humans from achieving salvation by making them forget their spiritual roots. This portrayal emphasizes her role in the cosmic battle by trying to obstruct humanity's spiritual enlightenment and redemption. The life cycle of the fungus Ophiocordyceps unilateralis is a remarkable and somewhat unsettling example of parasitism. It begins when the spores of the fungus land on an ant. These spores are equipped with special enzymes that enable them to penetrate the ant's exoskeleton and invade its body. Once inside, the fungus starts to grow and spread throughout the ant's internal systems. The fungal cells take control of the ant's central nervous system, releasing chemicals that disrupt normal brain function and alter the ant's behavior. Under the influence of these chemicals, the infected ant exhibits abnormal behavior. It leaves its nest and climbs to a high point on a plant. Once there, the ant bites down onto the vegetation, anchoring itself in place. This behavior, known as the death grip, is critical for the fungus's reproductive success. As the fungus continues to develop, it produces structures called sporangia, which eventually burst from the ant's body. These sporangia release a large number of new spores into the environment. The released spores can then infect other ants, continuing the cycle of infection. This extraordinary process highlights the fungus's ability to manipulate its host's behavior to ensure its own propagation, demonstrating a unique and fascinating aspect of parasitic relationships in nature. The Ghost Army, officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, was one of the most unique and innovative units in military history. Comprised of artists, designers, sound engineers, and actors, this unit was tasked with creating elaborate deceptions to mislead the enemy about the size, location, and intentions of Allied forces during World War II. Their mission was to create the illusion of large troop movements and preparations in order to divert attention from real operations, thereby protecting the lives of soldiers and increasing the chances of mission success. The Ghost Army's deceptions were incredibly sophisticated for the time. They employed inflatable tanks, artillery, and vehicles, which could be quickly deployed to simulate the presence of an entire armored division. To further the illusion, the unit used loudspeakers to broadcast sounds of troop movements, construction, and even battle noises, creating the auditory impression of a large force. Additionally, they engaged in fake radio transmissions, complete with convincing dialogue and tactical chatter, which were designed to be intercepted by the enemy and lead them to incorrect conclusions. One of their most famous operations was during the Battle of the Bulge, where their efforts helped to confuse German forces and mislead them about the Allies' true plans. The unit's success in deception was so effective that it likely saved thousands of lives by preventing enemy attacks on vulnerable areas and allowing Allied forces to concentrate on key operations without being detected. The Ghost Army's operations remained classified for decades after the war, adding to the mystery and intrigue surrounding their contributions. It was not until the 1990s that the full extent of their activities was revealed to the public, highlighting their significant, albeit unorthodox, role in the Allied victory in Europe. The story of the Ghost Army is a testament to the power of creativity and deception in warfare, showing how unconventional methods can have a profound impact on the outcome of a conflict. The Canaanites, according to the Bible, are the ancient inhabitants of the land of Canaan, a region that roughly corresponds to modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and parts of Jordan and Syria. In biblical genealogy, the Canaanites are described as the descendants of Canaan, who was the son of Ham and the grandson of Noah, Genesis 10:6-20. Following an episode where Ham disrespected Noah, Canaan was cursed by Noah, and his descendants were said to have settled in the land that would later bear his name. In the biblical narrative, the land of Canaan is significant as it is the promised land that God vowed to give to Abraham and his descendants, Genesis 12:7. The Canaanites, therefore, are depicted as the original inhabitants of this land before the arrival of the Israelites. The Israelites, under the leadership of Moses and later Joshua, were commanded by God to conquer and take possession of Canaan. Exodus 3:8, Joshua 1:2-4. The Canaanites are often portrayed as numerous and powerful, representing a significant challenge to the Israelites in their quest to settle in the land. The Canaanites are also frequently associated with idolatry and religious practices that were condemned by the Israelite prophets and leaders. They worshipped a pantheon of gods, including Baal and Asherah, which the Israelites were repeatedly warned against adopting, Judges 2:11-13. The Bible emphasizes the danger of the Israelites being led astray by the religious and moral practices of the Canaanites, which were seen as corrupt and incompatible with the worship of Yahweh. The conflict between the Israelites and the Canaanites is a central theme in several books of the Bible, particularly in the book of Joshua, which details the conquest of Canaan. The Canaanites are depicted as adversaries that the Israelites must defeat to fully realize the covenant God made with them. This conflict is often framed as a divine mandate, with the Israelites acting as instruments of God's judgment against the Canaanites for their idolatrous practices. Overall, the Canaanites play a complex and multifaceted role in the biblical narrative, serving as both historical figures and symbolic representations of the challenges the Israelites faced in establishing themselves as a people in the land God promised to them. Russian black magic, known as Chyornaya Magia, has a rich and complex history that intertwines with ancient Slavic pagan beliefs and has evolved through various cultural and historical influences. This form of magic traces its roots to the pre-Christian era of ancient Slavic peoples who practiced animism and polytheism, venerating a pantheon of natural spirits and deities. These early practices laid the groundwork for many magical traditions that persisted even after the arrival of Christianity. With the spread of Christianity, many of these pagan rituals were suppressed or transformed. However, elements of these old beliefs survived, often merging with Christian practices in a process known as syncretism. This blending led to the incorporation of Christian symbols, saints, and prayers into magical rituals, creating a unique fusion of pagan and Christian elements. Folk magic in Russia is characterized by its reliance on traditional rituals and symbols. Practitioners might perform ceremonies involving intricate patterns of chanting, the use of ritual tools like knives or wands, and the invocation of specific spirits. Russian black magic often involves the use of curses and hexes, known as porcha and zglas. These practices aim to inflict harm or misfortune on individuals, using personal items such as dolls, photographs, or even hair. Porcha can be particularly damaging, causing illnesses, accidents, or emotional distress, while zglas, also known as the evil eye, pertains to the belief that envious or malevolent gazes can bring about negative outcomes. The invocation of spirits and demons is another critical aspect of Russian black magic. Practitioners might summon these entities through elaborate rituals, seeking their assistance or favor. The relationship with these spirits is complex, as they are considered both powerful and potentially dangerous. Proper handling is crucial to avoid adverse effects or unintended consequences. Divination practices are integral to Russian black magic, providing a means to gain insights into the future or uncover hidden knowledge. Methods of divination include scrying, where practitioners use reflective surfaces like mirrors or water to receive visions, reading tea leaves, and interpreting signs or omens in nature. These practices are often deeply symbolic and require a nuanced understanding of their meanings. Protection magic is another facet of Russian black magic, aimed at safeguarding individuals from malevolent forces or curses. This includes the creation and use of amulets and talismans, which are believed to ward off evil influences. Protection rituals might involve specific prayers, blessings, or the creation of protective boundaries around one's home or person. Love magic, or privorite, involves rituals designed to attract or control someone's affections. These rituals can be highly manipulative, involving personal items from the target and elaborate ceremonies. The ethical implications of such practices are significant, as they involve influencing another person's will and emotions. Russian black magic also features its own grimoires and magical texts, often handwritten and passed down through generations. These texts contain detailed instructions for performing spells, rituals, and other magical operations. The content of these grimoires reflects a rich tradition of magical knowledge, incorporating both ancient practices and more contemporary influences. Secrecy has been a hallmark of Russian black magic, driven by historical persecution and societal stigma. Many practitioners have kept their practices hidden, sharing their knowledge only within trusted circles or families. This secrecy has contributed to the mystique surrounding Russian black magic and has preserved its traditions through oral and written transmission. In contemporary times, Russian black magic continues to influence literature, folklore, and media, reflecting its deep cultural resonance. It remains a subject of fascination and study, revealing the complex interplay between historical traditions and modern interpretations. The persistence of these magical practices highlights their enduring impact on Russian cultural heritage and their role in shaping contemporary spiritual and occult practices. The story about Nikola Tesla's artificial earthquake revolves around an invention he referred to as a mechanical oscillator, a device that he claimed could cause vibrations strong enough to simulate an earthquake. Tesla designed the oscillator as a steam-powered mechanical resonator that could generate high-frequency vibrations. In 1898, Tesla reportedly conducted an experiment with one of his oscillators at his New York City laboratory. The story goes that he attached the oscillator to a steel beam, and as it vibrated, it matched the resonant frequency of the building, causing it to shake violently. The vibrations reportedly grew so intense that they affected surrounding buildings and caused panic in the neighborhood. Tesla had to use a sledgehammer to destroy the device to stop the vibrations. Tesla later claimed that with the right frequency, his device could destroy the Empire State Building or even cause an earthquake. He believed that mechanical resonance, a phenomenon where vibrations build up and amplify within a structure at its natural frequency, could be harnessed to cause significant damage. While the story is intriguing, many experts are skeptical of Tesla's claims. The idea that a small, handheld device could cause an earthquake-level event is generally considered implausible. The story has become part of the Tesla mythos, blending fact with speculation and legend. The Tesla earthquake machine remains a topic of fascination and speculation, often cited in discussions about Tesla's visionary but sometimes controversial ideas.
Saint Anthony, also known as Anthony of Egypt, Anthony of the Desert, and Anthony the Abbot, is recognized as a founder of Christian monasticism. Born in 251 in the village of Coma, south of Memphis in Upper Egypt, Anthony's life was marked by his dedication to solitude, prayer, and his legendary battles with demonic forces. Anthony was born to Christian parents during the persecutions ordered by the Roman Emperor Decius. His parents died when he was about 20, leaving him a large estate and the responsibility of caring for his younger sister. Inspired by the Christian Gospels, particularly Matthew 19:21 and 6:34, Anthony radically changed his life. He sold his estate, distributed the wealth to the poor, placed his sister in a house of maidens, and began a life of solitude around 72. Life of solitude. Anthony's first retreat was in the Libyan desert, where he lived in an abandoned tomb, sustaining himself on a minimal diet and engaging in prayer, reading, and manual labor. He faced fierce demonic assaults during this time. In 285, he crossed the Nile River to live in the abandoned ruins of a mountain fort in almost total isolation for 20 years. Despite his seclusion, he attracted many followers and finally emerged in 305 to found the first monastery at Fayum. Anthony spent the rest of his life supporting the Christian cause, alternating between periods of public activity and solitude. He founded another monastery in the desert and lived in isolation with his disciple Macarius on Mount Colzim. He actively opposed the Arian heresy in Alexandria and was highly regarded by both Christians and pagans. At the age of 105, in 356, Anthony returned to Mount Colzim, where he fell ill and passed away, instructing his disciples to bury him secretly. Saint Anthony is perhaps best known for the intense demonic temptations he endured throughout his life, as detailed by his friend Saint Athanasius in Vita S. Antoni. The devil and his demons relentlessly tried to lure Anthony back to a life of material comfort, often through severe psychological and physical torment. Anthony resisted these temptations through his steadfast faith and prayer. One of the most severe temptations involved sexual seductions by the devil, who once appeared in the form of a woman. Anthony's unwavering faith helped him overcome these trials. The devil continued to torment Anthony in various forms, including sending a horde of hyenas, evil spirits, and a multitude of demons in the shapes of animals and insects. Despite these attacks, Anthony remained resolute, relying on his faith in Christ to banish the demons. After emerging from isolation, Anthony shared his insights about demons. He described them as beings of the air, numerous and deceptive, who were originally created good but fell from heavenly wisdom. Anthony emphasized the importance of prayer, discipline, and the gift of discerning spirits to recognize and defeat demonic forces. He taught that demons attack all Christians, particularly monks, first with evil thoughts, then with sexual temptation, and finally with terrifying visions. However, he assured that demons are ultimately powerless against true faith in Christ. Anthony was known for his ability to exorcise demons. People often sought his help, and he healed many through prayer and invoking the name of Christ. He warned those who healed or cast out demons not to boast, as this could make them vulnerable to further attacks. The account of Saint Anthony's triumphs over demons laid a crucial foundation for the Christian understanding of demonic possession and spiritual warfare. His experiences and teachings influenced how the Church dealt with cases of demonic possession, emphasizing the power of Christ's name and the necessity of faith and humility in overcoming evil. Saint Anthony's life and legacy continue to inspire Christians, particularly in the context of monasticism and the spiritual battle against temptation and evil. His teachings on demons remain an important part of Christian tradition, highlighting the enduring struggle between good and evil.
The Philadelphia experiment is indeed a fascinating tale that has intrigued conspiracy theorists for decades. According to the legend, the U.S. Navy conducted a top-secret experiment in 1943, allegedly making the USS Eldridge invisible to enemy radar. And some versions of the story even claim the ship was teleported from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia, and back again. The experiment supposedly involved manipulating electromagnetic fields, leading to bizarre and terrifying side effects for the crew, including severe disorientation, madness, and even being fused with the ship's metal. Despite its enduring appeal in the realm of the unexplained, there is no credible evidence to support the story. The U.S. Navy has consistently denied that any such experiment took place, and many aspects of the tale, such as the supposed teleportation, are considered scientifically impossible by mainstream physics. Most historians and researchers believe that the story is a fabrication, likely stemming from a combination of misunderstood information, fictional accounts, and the creative imaginations of conspiracy theorists. However, the story continues to capture the imagination of many, featuring in books, movies, and documentaries. It serves as a powerful example of how myth and reality can blend, creating enduring legends in the process. In this video, there are some intriguing and eerie facts about some films. The blend of on-set accidents and supernatural elements really adds to the mystique surrounding these movies. If you're into the history of film production or the supernatural, these behind-the-scenes stories are definitely fascinating. Do you have a favorite among these films, or are you more interested in exploring other movies with similar eerie backstories? Please add your comments. Poltergeist, 1982. Several cast members died within 6 years of the film's release, leading to the rumor of the poltergeist curse. The skeletons used in the pool scene were real human skeletons, which was cheaper than using fake ones. The Exorcist, 1973. The set of the McNeil home caught fire and burned down, except for Regan's bedroom. Actors Jack McGowan and Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Burke Dennings and Regan's mother respectively. Both died before the film was released. The film's director, William Friedkin, had a priest bless the set after a series of strange occurrences. Rosemary's Baby, 1968. The film's composer, Krzysztof Komeda, died from a brain clot, similar to a character in the film. Director Roman Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, was murdered by the Manson family a year after the film's release. The murders were compared to the film's dark themes. The Omen, 1976. During filming, several cast and crew members were involved in a car accident. The film's special effects consultant John Richardson was involved in a car crash that decapitated his assistant, mirroring a scene in the film. A plane that the film's crew was supposed to take for aerial shots was switched at the last minute. The original plane crashed, killing everyone on board. The Shining, 1980. The Timberline Lodge, used for the hotel's exterior shots, requested that Stanley Kubrick change the room number from 217 to 237 to avoid scaring off guests. The film set was destroyed by a fire shortly after filming wrapped. The Crow, 1994. Actor Brandon Lee was accidentally shot and killed during filming due to a prop gun mishap. Several other accidents and incidents occurred during production, leading some to believe the film was cursed. The Conjuring, 2013. During filming, the cast and crew experienced strange occurrences such as unexplained bruises and scratches. The real-life Warrens, whose case the film is based on, visited the set and claimed to have experienced a dark presence.
Patricia Douglas was a 20-year-old aspiring actress in 1937 when she was raped by an MGM salesman at a studio party. Despite the power dynamics at play, Douglas refused to be silenced. She rejected the studio's attempts to buy her silence with a 7-year contract and cash, choosing instead to speak out about the event and the involvement of teenage girls at the party, which cost the equivalent of $440,000. Douglas was determined to seek justice. She sued MGM and took the case to trial, but the jury did not indict her assailant, David Ross. Undeterred, Douglas and her mother filed a civil suit asking for $500,000 in damages against the party organizers. They alleged a conspiracy to seduce her and the other dancers for the immoral and sensual gratification of male guests. Unfortunately, Douglas's lawyer abandoned her, possibly due to collusion with MGM, and the case was dismissed after he failed to show up at trial 3 times. The incident had a profound impact on Douglas's life. She left Hollywood and struggled with the burden of her story for decades. It wasn't until she was 86 years old that she broke her silence in an interview with Vanity Fair, stating that the incident absolutely ruined her life. Meanwhile, MGM emerged relatively unscathed. This was the last rape case on record for them. Douglas's story serves as a poignant reminder of the power imbalances in Hollywood and the courage it takes to speak out against injustice. Astaroth, in Zoroastrianism, is indeed a significant figure, often depicted as the red demon associated with death. He is believed to bind the soul at the time of death, separating it from the body. This act marks the transition of the soul from the physical realm to the spiritual one. Astaroth's role is crucial in the Zoroastrian understanding of death and the afterlife. In Zoroastrian cosmology, Astaroth is often linked with Ahriman, another demon who represents wrath and is one of the principal demons of evil. Together, they embody the malevolent forces that challenge the righteous and the faithful. In Pahlavi texts, which are Middle Persian Zoroastrian scriptures, Astaroth is referred to as the creation of the demons, highlighting his role in the forces opposing Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism. Astaroth's presence in Zoroastrian texts underscores the religion's dualistic worldview, where the forces of good, represented by Ahura Mazda and his divine entities, are in constant battle with the forces of evil, including demons like Astaroth and Ashma. This duality is a core tenet of Zoroastrian belief, emphasizing the ongoing struggle between good and evil in the cosmos and in the lives of individuals.